Welcome to this week's installment of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don Henninger. I'm Don, and with me is my podcast trailblazer, Kevin Maxwell.
Hello, Mr. Curator. How are you?
I'm just terrific, Kevin. Always good when we get together and talk to cool people doing cool things in Scottsdale.
Love it.
We got another one today, man. Our guest this week is Todd Bankofier. He's the CEO and Executive Director of the Western Spirits Scottsdale Museum of the West. Welcome, Todd.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you guys having me.
It's so cool to get you on here. You know, you took that role almost a year ago now, but you've been around these parts for a long time. You've lived in Scottsdale for 35 years. You're an ASU grad. You're an accomplished businessman and been around the political scene too, having once worked as a legislative aide to Senator Paul Axelt. But even more importantly, locally, you were chief of staff. A lot of people don't know this. Chief of staff to Jim Bruner back when Jim was a Maricopa County supervisor. So you and Jim go back a long way too, huh?
Yeah, we sure do.
So in the business world, he worked for Exo Communications, NSYNC, Audio Eye, and a bunch of others that we could go on and on for a while. But and also was on the board for a board chair. You were board chair for Catholic Education Arizona, right? Maybe you still are.
Correct. I'm still on the board, but not the chair.
Still on the board. That's cool. So you are a man of all seasons. Yeah. That's all there is to it. And I feel like I've known you forever. I was on your board of directors when you were CEO of the Arizona Technology Council. Boy,
really?
We're not going to talk about how many years ago that was. Todd was the CEO of the Tech Council. I was on a board back in the day.
Another great organization that kind of brought up the sort of tech industry in this state.
Is that the same organization that Steve Zykstra is there?
That's right.
Now
Steve Zykstra.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So I thought that he was the original.
No.
Look at that.
That would be me.
Learning something new every day.
You were number one. Then Donna Kent came after you, I think. And remember Ed Dennison, who was kind of the way back in the day before it was the Tech Council.
Yeah, it was the Arizona Software Association.
Yeah. But
and they said we need to just not have software organizations. We need to have all the different tech companies. And in those days, an organization like Honeywell or Motorola were seen as manufacturing companies.
Is that right?
They were not seen as technology companies. And so we changed that. We actually made them change their SIC codes to technology
did you really?
instead of manufacturing because they were truly making cell phones and all the things that they were doing out there.
You were on the cutting edge, man.
And we're like, next thing you know, we had all these new technology jobs for the state.
So just when I thought I knew everything about you, I discovered that there's something I didn't know, and that you grew up on a ranch outside of Reno, Nevada, raising cattle and sheep and hanging around the rodeo scene.
You got it.
It's in your blood, isn't it,
I didn't know anything different.
So does your new job now, does it feel like you're getting back to your roots?
This is definitely going back to my roots. I almost get tingly every time I walk in the door because I see so much Western heritage on the walls and in the museum every day when I'm there.
Did you say radio or rodeo?
Rodeo.
Oh, because I thought you said radio for a second.
Rodeo.
Okay.
No, rodeo.
Ranch rodeo.
Rodeo on the weekends. Work your butt off during the week.
Really? Wow.
So what was it like growing up on a ranch?
It was something you realized you thought everybody did it, right? Because you didn't know any different. But, the morning started early, 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
You just put in about an hour and a half of hard work, feeding the cattle and sheep and all the things that are out there that need help. During the winter, breaking ice in the troughs, and you come in starving to death, you get a big breakfast, and make that 2-mile walk to the bus stop.
Uphill.
Both ways.
Right,
both ways. Of course. Right, of course.
Without question. And you get to the bus stop, and then you're a 16-mile drive on this little bus to this small little schoolhouse out in the middle of nowhere. And you sit in this classroom. My greatest part of the day was sitting down in my classroom chair.
Really? I bet.
Relaxed.
First time you could sit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And relaxing, Then you had to worry about, putting your mind to work, though.
Yeah. But how many kids can say that their favorite part of the day was sitting down in their classroom chair?
Not too many, man. Not too many. So you went to ASU. So you're off the ranch into ASU. Give us your career background from you went to ASU and then what happened from there. Give us a little.
Well, my
timeline.
grandfather happened to be the mayor of Reno, so I had the opportunity to get to know the U.S. senator from Nevada, and we all were family, close friends. And I'd see him every once in a while. I'd come home from break from ASU, and he goes, "You're going to come to work for me when you graduate, right?" And I said, because he'd been telling me that for 5 years. Like, as soon as you get old enough, I want you to, and you graduate from college, I want you to come back to work for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, Senator, I got a business degree. I'm, political science is not something I'm really big on. But he goes, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's all about being in my office and serving constituents and serving your state. You need to come do this. So he convinced me, and I did.
No kidding.
Graduated from ASU, went back to Washington, D.C., and I spent 5 years, 3 of them with him and 2 of them as a lobbyist for the Department of Energy. So spent 5 years there. And then I said, I got to get out of this.
You escaped.
I was going to say.
I came back, and I had a choice, Nevada or Arizona, and I chose Arizona.
Because of your time at ASU,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I just knew I wanted to come back here.
Is that when you hooked up with Jim Brunner?
Came back here, and 2 days after I got back here, I was introduced to Jim Brunner.
No kidding.
And he had just won his primary for county supervisor, his first time at it. He goes, I want you to be my chief of staff.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's quick. Let's do it.
Yeah, right.
So immediately immersed myself into county government. And we had, during those days, there was a lot going on. A lot going on. Not baseball, just a small piece of it, but... Were you
working with the Jim when he made the crucial vote for the baseball stadium? Yes. Yeah, baseball park?
Yep.
Yeah. That must have been some interesting times going through that with him back then.
Very interesting times. But a man just committed to the cause. Like,
totally.
As tough as this is,
yeah,
we're not relenting, you know?
Well, when you think of public servants, Kevin, we've had Jim on our podcast.
And before. Sandy.
And Sandy was with him as well. But I can't think of anybody who's a better role model public servant than Jim Brunner.
There's no better.
Yeah.
A man who just truly dedicated himself every day to the people who he served. There were just so many moments, unannounced, unknown to probably most people. He did things on his own to help people, and nobody ever knew about it. But when the big issues came along and when he knew they were right, he was very convincing about getting the right amount of constituents to understand what he was trying to get done. But he would listen to a lot of people that would say, no way, I'm not in favor of that. I'm not in favor of that. And he'd say, well, I appreciate your opinion, but I really believe this is the best interest of our community.
We don't see any guys like that anymore, do you?
No, I mean, we could use a few more folks like that, leaders like that today in the political world, couldn't we? Doing the right thing for the community, and even at the expense maybe of your own career. Yeah. Sacrifice your own personal interest for the good of the community. That's exactly what he did. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And it didn't, to this day, it doesn't bother him. Just,
no, it doesn't.
It was the right thing to do and would not change his vote.
No.
One bit.
So we'll come back to that in a second, because that's obviously going to be one of your connections into your new job. But I'd be curious just for our listeners to understand a little bit about what you were doing in the business world, because you were like with the Technology Council and startup companies that you've done throughout the years. You've been with 5 or 6 companies.